Hello, guys. In this prediction, we have Vice President Kamala Harris up against former Governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. This would probably be like Hogan winning the popular vote by 5% against Harris. I think it would be a near electoral landslide just because Harris is very unpopular. Hogan's decently popular among moderate voters, and he could just probably sweep Harris in most of these moderate voters in most of these states. There wouldn't be a lot of safe blue states here for sure, but still, Massachusetts would be safe blue. So let's start off with the first few states, the likely ones. Maryland and Delaware, they would still be likely states, but with Maryland, maybe, honestly, I could see going to lean blue. I could see Hogan performing extremely well here because he's a popular former governor of this state. Home state advantage is a real thing, especially if you're a governor and you're well received here. This would definitely be a swing state in an election like this. It would definitely go to lean. New Jersey would still be a likely state. Connecticut's still likely. While Rhode Island would still just be about an 11-point victory for Harris. It wouldn't be a likely state. In New Hampshire and Maine, I could see both these states going for Hogan, though. Even Maine second going to him by a very large margin. Maine's first district only going to Harris by a lean margin. Or no, a likely margin. Let's see here. In these next few states, Florida and Texas, honestly, Harris wouldn't stand a chance. She's very unpopular in both these states among independent voters, which Hogan would win against her in a landslide. Ohio, he just wins because of anti-Harris sentiment here. So Ohio would be a likely margin against a decent Democratic nominee, but with Harris, she's very weak, so she really wouldn't have a chance in Ohio. Let's see here the next few states. Harris would still win Colorado and just barely win New Mexico against Hogan. Hogan would have a real shot at winning that state. In Arizona, though, I could see Hogan winning by a likely margin against Harris. He would do very well within moderate independents here. He would do well among McCain Republicans, and I could see him winning the state by about 5.5%. Nevada would still be a lean Republican, but almost a likely Republican state. With Hogan as the nominee, I think he would do very well with Republicans there, or just independents, and probably most of the Republicans would vote for him. Okay, let's see here. In North Carolina and Georgia, I see North Carolina going to Hogan by about a likely margin, a 6-point victory, while Georgia would go to him by about 3 to 4 points. I think he would do well in the Atlanta suburbs, definitely fix their margins for Republicans there. So Harris only barely wins them against Hogan, or only wins them by about 5 instead of like the usual 10 to 15 points that Dems win by Georgia in those suburbs. Let's see here. In these 4 Rust Belt states and Virginia we have left, Hogan would definitely win Nebraska second against Harris. He really wouldn't stand a chance there. Virginia, just because of him being from Maryland, he would do very well in the northern Virginia suburbs, probably emulating Glenn Youngkin margins in all of them, and probably would be able to carry the state, honestly. In Pennsylvania, I also see him just carrying the state against Harris. I think he would do well with most of the voter groups here and make up for any losses with populist voters, with those swing voters in the suburbs. He would probably perform very well in Bucks County, probably definitely winning against Harris too. And in these last few states here, even though he would have a lot of losses, the populist voters in Wisconsin and Michigan, because he will be seen as very establishment Republican, I think he could make up for those losses because of how centrist he is on the issues. He would make up for those losses with those more moderate voters who have a distaste of Harris and would rather see Hogan as president than Harris. And this might be a controversial take, but in the state of Minnesota, I honestly could see him ending its Democratic streak just because of how toxic Harris would be seen in the Rust Belt with all those independent voters. I think Hogan would be able to win them over. So it's a near electoral landslide for Hogan. He would probably win the popular vote by around 5% here. I mean, the fact that Maryland's even competitive is kind of crazy. But that's my election prediction. It was Hogan versus Harris. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.